Alright, so I'm going to start off showing you where I store my miter saw wings. They're stored up there. Got my saws right here. And I just set them right up on top of that very top shelf. Throw a couple straps over them, and that works pretty good. I've got my saws set up so that they mount on DeWalt stands. And then I used to run Capex miter saws before I started having the motors go out. So I used to have these wings set up to mount to a Capex. So I actually kind of had to come up with a solution similar to the Capex for the DeWalts. So this is just angle iron, a piece here and a piece here, and it's welded together, and then it is bolted to the saw, and that's how my wings mount to the saw. The biggest downfall of these things is that they are fairly heavy. I mean, they're not small, but it's a trade-off. You can't have it all. They are locked together with these hasps, I believe they're called, which you can buy at Lowe's or Home Depot. They're basically window locks. So we can go ahead, just unlock these. And then there are dominoes that keep everything lined up. Then this is the guts of the saw. These are brackets that are made for the Capex, and they're made by a company called multitoolblade.com. Search for that and Capex bracket on Google. I'll put a link in the video description. That connects it to the saw. Inside we have a crown stop. That is a material support stand with one leg cut off with a hinge up there. Each wing stores 2 of my custom stops that I invented. This guy here keeps the leg from kicking out and offers adjustment by tightening or loosening the threads. And my cut list holder is right here. That pops on and off. Everything's got magnets. So that's got magnets. This here, that's a magnet right there. The crown stop is held in just by a little flip block right here. We got magnets to hold these things where they're supposed to go, and magnets hold my stop blocks in, and I even penciled around them so I know exactly how they're supposed to go. But I think that pretty much covers the guts on the inside. To get everything nice and level, I usually just take my jammer level, put it on the saw, and then I'll take a shot of the underside to show you the mechanism that you use to level it. So using my jammer level up top, I'm going to reference off the saw, and then I've got some slop in here now, so all I'm going to do is twist this so that it tightens, and now that leg won't kick out, and it keeps the table flat right exactly where it should be. If I needed to adjust it down, I just take some of the slack out of it and then bump that over, and that allows it to lower down. So now we're all nice and level and they're tightened up here. It's time to put my cutlass holder and stop block on. So these just slide in the track that's mounted on the back side here. Same thing for the stop block. I tighten these every time I put them away because otherwise in transit the knobs will come loose. So that's my cutlass holder. I swap it out in my bags with another one that I carry every time I come to the saw, and then this just slides along here like that. Take a couple shots of the T-track. This is a double miter track, I believe they call it. It's sold by Peachtree. So it has the two different size slots. If I can get this to focus. As you can see, in that top slot is what my stops slide in. A 1/4-20 bolt will slide really nice in that. And then in the lower slot, that's just used to screw it to the back of the saw. I'll have a link in the description below. They sell this stuff on Amazon with Prime shipping now, so I'll have a link for that. Next feature is the crown stop, and it is nested inside the wing, so it's always ready to go when I'm on site and I need to cut some crown. All I've got to do is pull this out, and it mounts in these tracks that are dadoed in to the front of the saw. So all I've got to do is tighten those down. I've got a piece of crown here. So I usually just put it in like that, and then I'll take out my tape measure and I'll check to make sure the distance off the fence is the same on both sides. And that'll keep my crown in the perfect position every time. So that is the cutting aspect of the crown system on here. The other important aspect is over here on the end where all the coping happens. So this is just a very simple jig, and what it does is slides in these two tracks on the ends. So what we'll do then is, after you've got your piece of crown cut, then you just pull it down and you flip it over, and then it'll nest like this, and you use your coping saw, jigsaw with coping foot, and you can see the exact angle that you've got to cope your crown then. And as you look down vertically, if you can see any meat, then you know you haven't taken enough off of your cut. Whereas guys who cut it flat with a coping saw are just back cutting it like crazy, and they have no idea where they're really at. They're just trying to take off as much as they can. Doing it this way, you don't have to back cut it like crazy, and you know by looking straight down through it if you've taken enough off or not. So usually my fence here is back set from the fence on the saw a little bit. So I'll just take a piece of scrap and put it here. That scrap piece of wood does not interfere because the way the crown is slanted like that. So all I'm doing is I'm making my cut here and then sliding it down, flipping it over. And then in this orientation is where I have my jigsaw and I cope it.